Can you hear that wind? It is ridiculously windy outside right now. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with another book haul. If you will notice, I have a new setup. I found a spot for my tapestry. I'm pretty sure this is the only wall in my room that is open. So now it's not. So it is officially March, and that means let's look at all of the money that Kelsey spent on books in February. I will say I did better than last month. That's not saying much because I only did better by one book, but that is beside the point. I've already apologized for my wallet multiple times. There are quite a handful, so let's just get going. The first one that I purchased is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This one's been on my TBR for a very long time, and I thought I'd finally get around to doing it, considering that the movie is coming out in March and I wanted to read that before I go see the movie. This book is about a boy named Simon who is a junior in high school, and he is talking with this other boy in high school that he doesn't know the identity of, but he calls him Blue. Now, he and Blue are both closeted, and they're kind of becoming more connected with each other, and it's really about him talking to someone that he has very strong feelings with and not 100% being out yet. Also, a kid in his high school is blackmailing him after he finds one of these emails with Blue. So it's his kind of like little journey in high school. This is one that I wanted. I've actually already finished this one. I have a review of this book on my channel. I will link it above if you want to know more of my thoughts on this book. So the next thing that I bought in the month of February is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. Am I saying that name right? L'Engle? L'Engle? Somehow I have escaped middle and high school without reading this book, and I don't really know how. This is one of my roommate's favorite books, and she's super excited about this movie, and I knew I wanted to read this book, and it's been on my TBR for a very long time, and I thought I needed to read it before the movie came out. I've said multiple times that I hate having movie covers to books, which is true. I do like having the actual physical copy that was meant to be published. However, this cover is absolutely gorgeous, and I couldn't help but pick it up. Also, I couldn't find the original cover in the Barnes & Noble when I wanted this, and so I went with this one. But I'm actually okay with getting the movie cover because it is so gorgeous. So The Wrinkle in Time is a middle grade novel about a girl named Meg and her brother and a friend trying to basically find her father who is missing. And it's very sci-fi-y and fantasy-y. It doesn't really fit in a specific category. I don't really know a whole lot about this book. I'm kind of going into it a little bit blind, but it's my roommate's favorite, as I said, and I know I wanted to read it. That was the cat. And I know I wanted to read it before I saw the movie, so here we go. So the next two books I'm going to kind of do together because they are in a series, and that is the first two books of A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. This is one that I've been interested in for a very long time, and because it's a trilogy, I want to read it more. I've discovered when it goes above 4 books in a series, I have less inclination to read them because it takes so much more of my time. This is set in a world where there are very different versions of London. There is Grey London, which has absolutely no magic. There is Red London, which has magic and is thriving. There is White London, which is going through a very magical war right now. And then there is Black London, which they do not speak of. This is about a guy named Kel who is from Red London but can travel between the Londons. And he acts as an ambassador, basically bringing messages from one London to another. However, he is a smuggler on the side, which is a very dangerous hobby, and he stumbles upon a token from Black London, which puts him in huge amounts of danger. So this world just sounds really interesting to me. I just love the idea of different kind of like realities of the same thing, so I'm intrigued to see where this goes. The next one in this haul is Villette by Charlotte Bronte. So this is about a girl named Lucy who basically goes to a boarding school, and it's based on Charlotte Bronte's own life of her time in a boarding school. It is said to be a very gothic tale and the last book that Charlotte Bronte wrote before she died. So I don't know a whole lot about this novel, but it is a classic and I love the Bronte sisters, so I thought I would just give it a go. The next one I got is also a classic, and that is The Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. This is about a girl named Isabel who is an American, and she travels to Europe to basically find herself. And while she is in London, she has many suitors that are basically trying to get her attention. She is very naive, so she falls prey to some schemes. It sounds very similar to Northanger Abbey to me, where the protagonist is just very naive and is thrust into society, not really knowing what's going on. So I'm very intrigued to see where this book goes. Yet another classic that I just had to have. So the next book, I'm going to totally butcher the author's name, and I am sorry, and that is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafran, I think. This is about a boy named Daniel whose father deals with antique books, and he finds solace in this one book of the same name, The Shadow of the Wind, and falls in love with it. And when he goes to try to discover more by the author, he has found that they have just magically disappeared and someone is going about destroying it, and this is one of the only copies of his basically work that still is living. Based on the back of this book, his, longing for more basically opens up this back door to a darker world where murder and mystery and all kinds of crazy stuff happens, and it just sounds super, super exciting and super interesting, and I cannot wait to get inside this one. The next one I've got for you is The News Where You Are by Catherine O'Flynn. Basically, I bought this because it's about an anchor, and I'm a news, so I am drawn to stories about news and people who work in it. This is about an anchor named Frank who on air is super corny and cheesy, but behind the scenes is struggling with the loss of his predecessor who was killed in a hit and run. So basically, everything in Frank's life is going wrong at this point. Sounds like to me, he has his midlife crisis, but is kind of coming to terms with himself and becoming a happier man, finding this information about his predecessor friend that has died, and getting help from his daughter to get through it all. And it's super short, and I thought I would just give it a try. So the next one is the one that I got in my February Owl Crate. So if you've seen that video, you know what it is, or if you get Owl Crate, you know what it is, and that is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. Basically, this book is about a girl named Alice whose grandmother is a great writer and lives on this place called the Hazelwood. However, when her grandmother dies, her mother ends up going missing and is kidnapped by someone who claims they are from the world where the grandmother's story takes place. And the only thing that her mother has left for her is a note that says, "Do not go to the Hazelwood." I've been told that this is a Alice in Wonderland retelling, but I don't get those vibes from it at all. But it does sound super interesting, and I like the, story coming to life aspect of it. So the next two are the ones that I picked up in my blindfolded book buy. So if you've seen that video, you know what it is. I'll link it up above if you are curious about that. And the first one is The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. It's about a girl named Belly who every single summer she goes to visit her cousin's beach. Her and her family go with her mother's best friend and her two sons, and she has a huge crush on one of them. But she hopes that this summer will be different and maybe she will get a chance with him. However, she is getting longing looks from the brother and a new friend that might be intruding on her life. So it sounds kind of like three guys almost pining for the same one, or two guys pining for her and she pining for someone else. I don't know, it sounds really interesting, and well, I picked it up, so here we are. The next one I bought in my blindfolded book haul is The Revenge by Hannah Jane. Basically, this sounds crazy, and I don't usually pick up things like this, but obviously I was blindfolded and I had to, and I'm actually kind of excited to get into this one. So it's about a boy named Tony who just wanted to get revenge on his ex-girlfriend, and it all goes wrong. He signs her up for some dating apps, and basically the way that the back sounds is that she gets in a car accident, or one of the people that she ends up going on a date with may not be a great person and could have kidnapped her or done something terrible. It doesn't really say, but it sounds like it all turns on its head and there's kind of like a mystery aspect of it. We're getting down to the last two. The next one I picked up is My Lady Jane by three authors, Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. So it's about to get real nerdy in here. So according to Tudor England history, when King Henry VIII died, basically the one who had all the wives and killed most of them, he left behind three kids: Edward, Mary, and Elizabeth. And it went in that order. Edward became king after King Henry died, but he was sickly and he kind of had a regent and didn't last a whole long. Also, he was very, very young. Like, I believe he was maybe 10, but if not, he was around there. He was very young. Now, when Edward died, it went to Mary, but they didn't want it to go to Mary because Mary was a Catholic and Edward was a Protestant. And so Mary finally takes back her throne and basically reigns for a big, long while, but she doesn't have any kids. So eventually, when she dies, it goes to Elizabeth, which is Queen Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, the one that everybody has heard of. However, what many people don't know is that between Edward and Mary, they didn't want to give up the throne to a Catholic. They wanted to keep it Protestant. So they brought Lady Jane Grey into it, and she was queen for about 9 days. And then, of course, she was beheaded and Mary became queen, and their hope at a Protestant queen rested on Elizabeth. This book is about Lady Jane Grey, who was the one who ruled for about 9 days. So what I'm getting from this book, which isn't a whole lot of information, is that it's about Lady Jane Grey, but the authors are going to write what they think should have happened and not what they think did happen. So it sounds really interesting. I'm kind of intrigued as to what they want to happen and kind of where this goes from here. I'm pretty sure that she's not going to get beheaded in this book, which obviously is not what happened in history. So I'm wondering where they're going to go with this. So we have made it to the very last book in the haul, and I'm going to totally butcher this author's last name, but that is Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Colthurst. This is one that's also been on my TBR for a very long time. This is about a princess who has been betrothed her entire life, basically as a political reason, between two countries to make an alliance. And when she goes and tries to learn more about that life, she is thrust in with the sister of her betrothed. However, she ends up falling in love with the sister of her betrothed. That sounds like a super awesome concept. I just love the idea of her not falling for who you would think. And I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to read this one. I'm so excited. I think I'm done. That's it. Woo! That is it for this haul. We have come to the end, finally. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end. I really appreciate it. What did you guys think? Did you read any of these books? What do you think of them? Are they good? I Became a Pirate. Are you as excited as I am? If you haven't, let me know in the comments below, or just leave any old comment down there. I respond to all of them, so I appreciate you taking the time to comment and watch this video. If you liked it, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. You've made it this far. You might as well join this fun little family we've got going on here, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!